All right, good morning, everyone. So my name is Allison. I am a freshman admissions advisor here at SUNY Plattsburgh. We have a pretty great presentation planned for you today. It's going to be about 45 minutes long. There are going to be breaks in the presentation for you to ask questions. You can type those right into your screen. But if you have questions along the way, absolutely feel free to ask them and I'll answer them as we go as well. I'm very curious, though, as to where everyone is coming from today. So if you want to type in where you are viewing this presentation from, that would be great. And we'll get a feel for where everybody is. Give those a second to come in. All right, looks like we have a couple North Country locals. Hello. We have a couple people from the Hudson Valley region. So you guys are actually with me. I am in charge of the Hudson Valley region. So very nice to meet you. And we've got a couple people from Long Island today. Okay, great. So let's jump right into the presentation. So first and foremost, I want to give you a little bit of information about SUNY Plattsburgh. So we were founded in 1889 as a teacher's college, which means the only major that we offered at that time was education. And we only had about 30 students in every incoming freshman class. At that time, too, the entire education department was held in Hawkins Hall, which if you have come on a campus tour yet, or maybe just taken the virtual tour online, Hawkins is our Harry Potter Hogwarts castle-looking building, so everyone usually remembers that one. Since then, we have grown exponentially. We now offer over 60 majors and minors for our students to choose from. We are also considered a mid-sized college, so any given year we have about 5,500 students enrolled between undergraduate and graduate students. We also have an extremely culturally diverse student population, which is something that we're very proud of. Our students are coming to us from 32 different states and 73 different countries, so that is really neat. When you're on campus, you have the opportunity to meet people from all over the world. But for now, that's going to be enough about us. We want to make the rest of this presentation all about you and any questions that you may have. Chances are, if you are viewing this presentation today, you do have one or many different questions that you're looking to have answered. Maybe you're looking to be a student athlete and you're not quite sure how to go about that. Maybe one of our more specialized programs at SUNY Plattsburgh has sort of sparked your interest, like nursing or robotics or fitness and wellness leadership, and you're looking to learn a little bit more about that. Maybe you have absolutely no idea what you want to study, which is fine, but you're looking for a school that will give you a lot of options as you start to figure that out. Or maybe you're just worried about moving away from home for the first time. For some of you, we are looking at about a 5-hour drive away from home, and that can be scary, so you're looking for some more information there. Whatever your questions are, we're going to make sure we get all of those answered today and kind of show you what your SUNY Plattsburgh story will look like. So from this point on, we're going to pretend for the sake of today's presentation that you have all officially been accepted into SUNY Plattsburgh. So great job. And we're going to take a look at what the next couple of years of your life could be like. So as an accepted student, the first thing that you're going to do is come to orientation. And orientation is a lot of fun. As an accepted student, you come onto campus. You'll stay overnight in one of the dorms. You'll get to try the food. That's always a big one. Get to meet some of your incoming freshman classmates. You'll also meet with your academic department and your academic advisor. You'll get to choose the classes that you're going to be taking your first semester of college. So that's always very exciting. You'll participate in a bunch of icebreaker activities, play a lot of fun games, and then you'll be heading home after orientation, and about a month later, you'll be back on campus. So something to think about there. We have quite a few different orientation sessions, and they go by your birthday. So if you have a birthday that's a little bit earlier in the year, you'll be in one of the first couple orientation sessions, and so on and so forth. Another great thing about orientation is it's a great time for you to explore the North Country. If you're making the drive up here anyway, you might as well see what is in the surrounding area and kind of make a road trip out of it. We are kind of uniquely located where we're only about an hour away from another state and another country. So there's lots of great things to explore. We're about 62 miles south of Montreal, Quebec in Canada, which is one of the largest French-speaking cities in the world. You can certainly get by just fine if you don't speak French. I certainly don't speak French and enjoy my time in Montreal immensely. They are home to the Bell Center, which is where the Montreal Canadiens NHL team plays. So if you're a big hockey fan, that might be something you're interested in. If you're not a big hockey fan, but you're a big music fan, they also house some of the largest names in music. Everyone from Lady Gaga to Bon Jovi to Shawn Mendes. You'll find a concert there that's something that you like. So that might be something you want to check out. We're also situated right on Lake Champlain, which is one of the largest freshwater lakes in the world. So very nice to have that at our disposal if you're someone that's into kayaking or jet skis or just being out on the water. Right on the other side of the lake is Burlington, Vermont, which is home to Church Street. Some of you may be familiar with. This is kind of a big outdoor mall and marketplace. Lots of great restaurants and shops that we may not have right here in town. It's a great place to spend a day and kind of make a day trip over there. And if I have any skiers and snowboarders in on our presentation today, we are also only about an hour drive from Lake Placid, which was home of the 1980 Winter Games. A lot of fun to head up there and check out all of the Olympic sites and also do some skiing and snowboarding at Whiteface Mountain. We do offer season lift tickets to our students for Whiteface, Stowe, and Gore Mountains if you are into skiing and snowboarding. Those are at a discounted rate and there's no blackout dates on those, so that's always great. Lots of different things you can check out while you're in town for orientation. And before you know it, you are back on campus for opening week and you're getting ready to move into the dorms. Now, there are 12 different dorms for our students to choose from, but 3 of them are specifically focused for our freshman students. So if you haven't found a roommate from home that you know is coming to campus that you want to live with, or you didn't meet anybody at orientation that you wanted to sign up to be a roommate with, that's okay. The housing department can assign a roommate to you. What they will do is send you a quiz. It's kind of like a BuzzFeed quiz. It's a lot of fun. They're going to ask you what time you go to bed in the morning, or what time you go to bed in the evening, rather, what time you get up in the morning. Unless you go to bed in the morning, then you're going to want to tell them that too. They're going to ask you how clean or messy you are, and that is on a sliding scale from neat as a pin to it looks like a tornado has gone through your room. Either way is fine. We just want you to be honest when you fill out that survey. So they'll take all of those answers that you gave and put you in a room with someone that lives a very similar lifestyle to you and make that burden of having a roommate for the first time a lot easier and set you up with someone that may be a very good friend of yours for years to come. The great thing about our freshman dorms too is they will go a step beyond that and actually ask you what you like to do for fun. Our freshman dorms are thematic based, so each floor has a different theme. They will put you not only in a room with someone that lives similarly to you, but also on a floor full of people that like to do the same things that you like to do after class. So there's a floor for leadership, for outdoor recreation, for arts and theater, all sorts of different things that you can sign up for there. And it really helps to ease that transition into living in the dorms for the first time. Another great thing we do is provide you with a community advocate or a CA. This is very similar to an RA, which is the term most people are familiar with. So this is going to be an upperclassman student that lives on your floor with you. They're going to be in charge of coming up with all sorts of fun activities for everyone on the floor to participate in. But they're also going to be your person if you're having trouble with a roommate, if you're feeling a little bit homesick, if you just need someone to talk to because you've had a rough day. They live on your floor, their door is open, and you can go in and chat with them about any of those sort of things. So it's another measure that we have in place to sort of help the transition into living in the dorms. Now that you've gotten into the dorms, you've met your roommate and your floor mates, and you've got all your new best friends, you may realize that you've forgotten a couple things at home that you meant to bring to the dorms, and you might need to go out and do some shopping. So we have a very fantastic uptown Plattsburgh with a couple of different shopping plazas. We've got a Walmart Plaza, that's always a fan favorite, that has Chipotle and a TJ Maxx, Home Goods, and Michael's, Staples, so lots of great things over there. We also have a Market 32 Plaza. Market 32 is our big grocery store in town, but they also have a Planet Fitness and a Bed Bath & Beyond. And then we have our Target Plaza, which is very popular. It is attached to our mall. Our mall is nothing too big and fancy, but it does get the job done. It has an Old Navy, an American Eagle, Dick's Sporting Goods. One of our movie theaters is there, and they also have an escape room now, which a lot of our students enjoy, so you might want to check that out. The great thing about all of the plazas in our uptown Plattsburgh is that we have a student shuttle that will run to them about every 15 or 20 minutes. You are more than welcome as a freshman to have a car on campus, but if you don't want to bring a car with you, that's fine. Don't feel like you need to, because that shuttle will take you around to all the places that you may need to go. You may also want to check out downtown Plattsburgh. This is very popular with our students, especially opening week, because you're not going to have very much homework or very much coursework to do. We refer to opening week largely as syllabus week, so you'll be getting a handout from all of your professors, essentially just laying out what you will be expected to do during the course of the semester, but there's usually not a lot of heavy assignments, so you have some more time to do some exploring. Downtown Plattsburgh is only about a 10-minute walk from campus, and the shuttle does go downtown as well if you're not feeling like walking. They have a ton of different great locally owned restaurants downtown that our staff and our students absolutely love. Those are all of our favorites. There are some little shops and sometimes a farmer's market downtown as well that you may want to check out, but they have a place for pizza and wings. They have Himalayan food, Greek food. The fan favorite is Our House Bistro. They have 27 different kinds of macaroni and cheese, so I recommend that you check that out next time you're in town. A lot of our students will head downtown opening week. So once you've got all of your shopping done, you will also have the opportunity to wrap up any last minute items if you need to visit admissions, financial aid, the health office. Maybe you've got that car on campus and you need to get your parking permit from University Police. All of those offices will be open and you'll have the opportunity to get all set for the beginning of the semester. And then before you know it, your first semester of college is in full swing. It goes by so fast. So what can you expect out of your first semester? You should be expected to take about 5 classes every semester, so that's going to be roughly 15 credits. You're going to be largely taking general education classes your first couple of semesters in college, regardless of what your major is. But if you have chosen to declare a major as an incoming freshman, we will make sure that you are in at least one class that directly correlates to your major right from the beginning. The reason for this is we want to make sure that the major that you read about on paper is really something that you love in practice. And when you're in those classes, it's really something that still speaks to you and something that you want to pursue. If it's not, we want to make sure we find that out from the beginning so that you can go ahead and select a different course of study and you're not spending so much time doing something that you don't enjoy. You may also be asked to join our honors program, which is really great. That's something that you would be invited into as an incoming freshman based on your grades and test scores. The honors program is kind of split up into 2 different pieces. The first half of that fulfills your general education requirements, and they do it in a pretty fun way. So the classes in the honors program are capped at 15 students, and they're designed to be roundtable discussions. So the whole point of it is for you to challenge your classmates and for you in turn to be challenged. There are a lot of really fun classes that only the honors students have access to. There's a Harry Potter class where they compare and contrast Hogwarts to modern day society. They have a Salem witch trials class, which is really popular. So they will study Salem all semester long. And at the end of the semester, they actually go to Salem, Massachusetts, so they can explore the area that they've been learning so much about. The other half of the honors program is that you will be doing graduate work at an undergraduate level. You'll come up with a thesis, you defend it, and you present right before your graduation. So that may be something to consider as well if you're invited into that program. For all of our students, there is a lot of support offered on our campus, and that's something that we pride ourselves in and we take very seriously. All of our classes are taught by professors, so these are those who have a master's or higher in their field. Our teachers' assistants do exist, but they never teach classes. They're more like the professor's right-hand man or woman, helping to grade assignments, take attendance, things of that nature. But you're always going to be instructed and taught by a professor. Our professors are also required to have office hours. So these are hours throughout the week where they will be in their office, the door will be open, and you can swing by and ask any questions that you might have, get those answers right there on the spot. Most of our professors go above and beyond and make themselves pretty readily available to our students too. So you should never worry about having to find a way to get in touch with your professor. You are also paired up with an academic advisor, which I touched on a little bit earlier, but this is someone within your academic field that you'll be meeting with from the very beginning when you come onto campus. And you have to meet with this advisor every single semester to be able to choose your classes. And this is great because they're going to make sure that you are on track every semester to graduate in however many years that you had planned to be on campus. So something to think about. We also have a learning center here at SUNY Plattsburgh, and that is a student-run tutoring service. So there are over 100 different classes currently that you can walk in and get a little extra assistance in. On the other side of the coin, if you've done very well in one of your classes, a professor can recommend that you become a tutor, and this is a paid job that you could have on campus. We also have student support services as one of the offices on campus. They are amazing, and they are there to help any student that has identified as needing a little bit of extra assistance. And that is everything from needing extra time on tests to maybe just needing help with note-taking. We actually will have student note takers in some of our classes for any students that need them. They will, take notes throughout the class and hand them into our Student Support Services Center, and they will then scan them and email them out anonymously to any students that have identified as needing that service. And there are tons of other accommodations within that center. So if you have any questions on that, please connect with me later and we can go over those more in depth. Let's talk a little bit about declaring a major. So as I mentioned earlier, we do have 60 majors and minors for students to choose from here at SUNY Plattsburgh. Because we have so many, we kind of sectioned them off into 3 different schools. The very first school that you'll see up on the screen is the School of Arts and Science. Now this school is our largest school, and most of your more liberal arts classes are housed here amongst many other things. It's such a large school that we've actually created 3 subsections for this one. So the first one is Arts and Humanities. So this is where our theater students are, our music students, our art students and art studio students. So this is a really great way to actually sort of showcase one of our favorite things on campus, which is that we are a museum without walls. When you do get a chance to come on campus, or maybe you've seen it already, there is student artwork spread all over campus, and that is constantly being updated and changed to new student artwork pieces. So that's something that we're really excited about. This school of study also houses our social sciences, so that's going to be criminal justice, psychology, sociology. Our hard sciences are also housed here, so that's going to be your biology, your chemistry, biomedical sciences, which is our pre-med track. Next is the School of Education, Health, and Human Services. So if you are an education major, something to note is that we do have a 5-year master's program for adolescent education and early childhood education. This is where our nursing program is housed, which is our most competitive and most successful program on campus. Our nursing students have a 100% job placement rate after graduation, but it is also the most competitive program to get into. So if I have any nursing students, again, connect with me after this and we'll get some of your questions answered. Some of our more unique programs are also housed in this school. We have a nutrition program and fitness and wellness leadership now as well, which our students can actually earn their master's degree in. The last school is the School of Business and Economics. Now there are 12 separate bachelor's degrees within this school, and that is pretty unique for a school of business. Many times you'll see that students are able to get a business degree with a specialization in marketing or accounting or finance. At SUNY Plattsburgh, you're actually able to get a full-fledged bachelor's degree in those specific fields, which is really great. Now, of course, the educational part of the presentation is very important, and that is the primary reason that you're coming onto campus. But we also want you to have fun while you're here, and we want you to get involved. We do have over 100 different clubs and organizations that our students can participate in, and they are on quite a wide range scale. Everything from our academic clubs, almost every major on campus now has a corresponding club that students can participate in, to recreational clubs. So that is really anything you could ever imagine. We have the Ukadukes, which is a ukulele club. We have a hula hoop troupe. There's a Star Wars club on campus now, really anything you could ever imagine. And the great thing about being part of a SUNY school is if there's a club on campus that maybe you participated in high school or something you just dreamed up that you think would be great, that you don't see here, you have the opportunity to create a club of your own, which many of our students have taken advantage of. We ended up with the Humans versus Zombie Club a couple years ago, and they are still very popular and a lot of fun. Cardinal Sports is a big one for us as well. We are a Division III school, and we have 18 Division III sports for our students to choose from. They are all great. We had 3 freshman track and field students make it all the way to the national level last year. Hockey, as you can probably tell from this picture, is our big one. Our men's hockey team draws in about 1,300 spectators every single game. Our women's hockey team has won the most NCAA championships in the history of forever. They're awesome. We throw them a parade every year when they win, so we just throw them a parade every year. A lot of fun to go check out those games. If you are looking to participate in sports, but maybe not on the Division III level, that's okay. We've got a place for you too with our club and intramural sports. Our club teams still have the opportunity to travel and compete against other schools, where our intramural sports are more of that pickup style. So if you're just looking to play volleyball one night after your classes and join a team that's a little bit more relaxed, you can do that through the intramural program. Now, if you are a sports spectator, but maybe not a participant, you could also join our Red Zone Cheer Squad. They're great. They go to all the home games for all of our sports. They paint their bodies and faces red. They have noisemakers. They get the crowd going. So they are an absolute blast, and sometimes just as much fun to watch as the actual sporting event is. So that might be something you're interested in too. We also have a pretty extensive fitness center here on campus that houses an indoor rock climbing wall and a swimming pool. That is about to undergo a pretty intense renovation. So we've kind of figured out what it is that would work best for our students and the athletic programs that we offer here on campus. And we're going to be shifting things around to make the space bigger and more inclusive for everything that our students and faculty are looking for. So that's something to keep an eye out for as well. All right, so this is going to be our first sort of break in the action here for anyone that has any questions about anything that we've talked about so far, or anything that you maybe were thinking about on the way into watching this presentation that has kind of been on your mind. So if you have any questions at this point, go ahead and type them right into the chat bar and we can get those answered for you. Give those just a second to come in. All right, so it looks like I have one on if freshmen have to live on campus. So if you live outside of a 60-mile radius from SUNY Plattsburgh, you do have to live on campus for your first 2 years. You are more than welcome to live on campus for the entire time that you are here. If you wish to move off campus, you can do so your junior year or after that. Anybody else with questions? If someone asking if they're able to apply with multiple majors. Okay, so we're actually going to get into that a little bit more on the second half of this presentation, but the sort of short and sweet answer there is that you can only apply to SUNY Plattsburgh with one major, so pick your favorite. Once you get onto campus, at that point you'll be able to add additional majors and minors, and we'll talk about that a little bit more, like I said, in the second half of the presentation. Any other questions before we move on to that second half? Oh, looks like I do have one. Asking how the dorms are arranged or set up. So there are a couple of different styles of dorms on campus. The two main ones are going to be suite style. So that's going to be usually 4 or 5 rooms that all have 2 people in them. They share a common kind of big living room space, and then they also share a large bathroom space together. And they have their own little area. The other style is corridor style housing, which is most common throughout all the buildings on campus, and especially in the freshman dorms as well. It's the most common style. So the way that works is you're in a hallway, and there are several rooms in that hallway that you'll have a roommate in. So there'll be 2 people living in those. And the really great thing as part of our renovation is they now share bathroom pods instead of the traditional large bathroom style. So those bathroom pods are actually rooms that you can walk into, shut a door behind you, and then you have your own toilet, sink, and shower in your own space. And there's usually about 6 of those on every corridor, floor, and hallway. So get a little bit more privacy that way than things have been in the past. So we're really excited about that as part of our new renovation. Any other questions? All right, it doesn't look like anything else has come through. There will be another chance for you to ask questions. And again, if any come up as we're talking about the second half of the presentation, feel free to send those in and we'll get to them sort of as we go. But let's move on to the second half of the presentation. So we've kind of covered up until now everything that will be happening in your first year as a freshman at SUNY Plattsburgh. But you've got quite a few more years to go. Students are on campus for 4 years, or if you're going for your master's, maybe a couple more. So we've got a lot more ground to cover. So let's talk a little bit more about what's going to happen in your sophomore year and everything after that. To kind of touch on the question that was asked just a minute ago, how do you go about adding a minor or a second major? And maybe why would you go about doing that? So there's a couple of different reasons that our students will opt to add a second major or a minor to their field of study. And the great thing about SUNY Plattsburgh is you can kind of create any combination that works for you and that's going to best customize your education while you're here. So the big reason that students will add a second major to their program would be to make themselves the most marketable to a future employer. And an example of this that would be up on the screen would be our global supply chain management and international business combo. So global supply chain management is in our business school. Actually, both of these programs are. And it's all about getting goods from point A to point B. And a quick plug for that program as well, Global Supply Chain Management also has a 100% job placement rate at SUNY Plattsburgh. So something to keep in mind if that's what you might be interested in. So if you are studying global supply chain management and you have fallen in love with the North Country and you know that you want to live and work here after graduation, that's great. But you should also know that you are almost certainly going to be working with our friends over the Canadian border. So adding that international business program to your field of study is going to make you extremely attractive to a future employer. Similarly to that, if you are a marketing student and you know you want to go into advertising and make all of these very intricate posters and designs and graphics, adding the graphic design element is also going to be a great resume booster for you. One thing to note about adding a second major to your program is if you are a business student, it's going to be easiest for you to do that. And the reason for that is with the 12 programs that are in our business school, there's a lot of overlap. So it's actually very common for our business students to double or triple major and still graduate in 4 years. Because a lot of times they only need a couple of more classes to achieve that second or third major. So that's something to keep in mind if you are a potential business student here with us. Now, a lot of students will also opt to add a minor. And a couple different reasons for that, but the most common is that it's just something that they're interested in and still want to keep pursuing. An example of this might be if you are a criminal justice major and you know that that is what your career should be and that's really what you want to do as far as work for the rest of your working days, but you've played the violin since you were 12 and you've played all the way up through high school and you just don't want to give it up, but you don't know that you want to double major in music, you could minor in music. So to get a minor is usually only about 15 credits, where to do a full major is way more than that. So a lot of our students will opt to add that music minor, so you can still take your music classes and still do performances and still hone your skills, while ultimately studying your major of choice. So something to think about. The best advice that I can give any of you that are looking to add a second major or a minor is to get in touch with your academic advisor as soon as possible, as soon as you know that that might be something that you want to do. They'll be able to kind of point you in the right direction and say, hey, you know, you can do that, but it's going to mean taking this many extra classes, or hey, you know, you only have to take this one extra class, especially for our like biomedical science students. A lot of times they only have to take one extra class to get a chemistry minor, or maybe it can already be built into their track and they just have to check that they want it and they already have it. So talk to that advisor and they'll really give you a full picture of what adding some extra studies would look like for you. All right, so let's jump into experiential learning. This is the sort of bread and butter of all the programs that you will see here on campus. So experiential learning is really that hands-on element that's built into every single one of our programs. A great example of this is with our nursing students. So they have access to the nursing skills lab that we have here on campus. That lab has simulated humans. So these sort of mannequins can do everything that actual humans can do for the most part. They will talk to you, they get sick, they can give birth, they can pass away. All we ask of our nursing students is that they don't let them pass away because they're going to be heading to clinical soon to deal with actual humans. So something to think about on that one. When our nursing students do move on to clinicals, they have CVPH, which is the largest hospital north of Albany, at their disposal, and that's where they'll be doing their clinicals. So that's a really great program that we offer. Our journalism students have access to Due North and Cardinal Points. So Due North is the in-flight magazine for Pen Air Airlines, and it's completely created by our students here on campus. Cardinal Points is our on-campus newsletter, again, completely created by our students and is circulated locally. It's a really great opportunity for them to get their work out there in both accounts. The really cool thing about both of these publications as well is, yes, our journalism students do sort of run the programs, but if you are not a journalism student of any sort and you want to get involved, there are certain clubs that you can join regardless of what major that you're in and still have a hand in creating those magazines and newspapers. We have our Lake Champlain Research Institute partnership, which is really very cool. A lot of our students participate in that are in more of the science realm. They will actually head out on Lake Champlain. They'll take water samples. They've got a really cool radar gun that they take out to do different studies. They're studying the life below the water, so all of the fish and plant life that are in Lake Champlain. Lots of great different things that are going on there. We also have several clinics here on our campus. Because we are a smaller community, we don't have a lot of medical clinics that are posted throughout Plattsburgh, so we actually house quite a few right here on campus, which allows for our students to have some hands-on learning experience right next to their classrooms. For our psychology students in particular, they will be working with our Traumatic Brain Injury Center, and not only are they working with patients that have actually sustained a traumatic brain injury, but they're also counseling the families of those who have sustained that injury and what life looks like for everyone involved moving forward. And this is certainly not the whole list. There are opportunities for experiential learning built into every single major. And the biggest chance that you'll have for some experiential learning will be through landing an internship. Many of our programs on campus do require that you participate in an internship before you graduate. However, even the ones that don't require it do recommend that students do participate in an internship, so everyone has an opportunity to. These are more of our big name internships that students have had. We've had students go off and work with Walt Disney and Disney World, had students at the New York Times and National Geographic. But this is, again, certainly not the whole list. There are so many different ways that you can get involved in an internship. If you're not looking for something quite on this scale, and maybe there's a business right in Plattsburgh that sort of fits into your field of study and that you really come to know and love, you can arrange an internship with them. There's a business back home that you would like to pair up with. That's an opportunity that you have as well. Or maybe you want to stay right on campus and see if you can find an internship with the college. In the past, some of our marketing students have interned with the marketing department at SUNY Plattsburgh, and that's been their internship. Lots of different options there, and we really encourage students to dream big as far as internships go. If you walk into our career development office who handle our internships, and we'll get to talk about them a little bit more in just a minute, and say, hey, I want to do an internship with Game of Thrones, what do you think? They'll say, okay, let's see what we can figure out, and you can work with them and really sort of tailor the internship to exactly what you're looking for. And what comes with being in an internship and eventually moving on to your career, employers are really going to be looking for someone who is a leader and who shows those leadership skills throughout everything that they do. And there are a lot of opportunities at SUNY Plattsburgh on our campus to gain those leadership skills. And this is everything right down to being the first person to raise your hand in class when a professor asks a question and no one else is looking like they have an answer. Other ways that you can build your leadership skills may be to get onto an executive board of a club. So maybe you're part of the skiing and snowboarding club for a couple of years, and then you decide to run for treasurer or vice president. That's an excellent way to build leadership skills. You might want to participate with Project Help, which is a community service organization that is run by SUNY Plattsburgh. You might want to get involved with Residence Life. Maybe you'll become a community advocate, which is a paid job for our students on campus, and they also get a discounted rate on the room and board and meal plan. Maybe there's another job on campus that interests you. There are tons of different on-campus jobs that you can apply for to sort of build those leadership skills. You might want to get involved with Greek life. We currently have 24 recognized Greek life societies on our campus. Or maybe you decided to participate in that honor society that we were talking about earlier. That would absolutely be a way to build your leadership skills. There are tons of different ways through pretty much everything you can get involved with here on campus that are going to give you some opportunities to sort of define yourself as a leader and build those skills and help build your resume. All right, so do I have anyone here interested in study abroad? This is pretty cool. Yes, I do. All right, we've got some answers in the tab over here saying we are interested in study abroad. That's awesome. So through SUNY Plattsburgh, you have over 500 options to see the world at SUNY Plattsburgh's price. So study abroad is a pretty individualized process. So if it's something that you're thinking about doing, I would definitely recommend that you get in touch with our study abroad option as soon as possible. The reason for that is there's a lot of planning that goes into it. So not only choosing where you want to go, but choosing when the best time would be for you to be there, how long you want to stay. Students may choose to go for a full year, or maybe just a semester, or maybe a couple of weeks on one of our shorter breaks. There's a ton of different options for you. So kind of getting in touch with that office and hammering out all those little details as soon as possible is going to give you the best chance to experience the exact program that you're interested in. We're also part of the National Student Exchange, which is another really neat opportunity to sort of get off campus and see another part of the world. We are one of only 4 SUNY schools involved in that program and one of only 6 schools in all of New York State involved in that program. And essentially what that is an exchange with schools that are within the United States. So this is a great way for our students to maybe find their graduate school. Maybe there's a school in California that you're really interested in studying after you graduated from SUNY Plattsburgh, so you might want to check that out for a semester. Maybe you know that you don't want to live in Plattsburgh or even in New York after you graduate, and you want to go check out schools in Delaware or Montana or Colorado, and you just want to see that area and see if that's somewhere you could see yourself living. Or maybe you just want to say that you lived in Hawaii while you were in college and it was great because you weren't here when it was snowing. There are all sorts of different reasons students take part in study abroad or the National Student Exchange, but those options are all readily available for you. So let's talk a little bit about the Career Development Center because they are really fantastic. We want to make sure that you're not only prepared for your studies here, but that you're prepared for everything when you're getting ready to graduate and leave campus. So the Career Development Center is completely free to all of our students. They will help you with your resume and cover letters. So if you've never written a resume before and you walk in with a blank sheet of paper, they'll coach you and help you write a resume from the ground up. They'll do mock interviews with you. If you have an interview for an internship or a job coming up and you're really nervous, they'll have you come in dressed up like it's the real thing. They'll run through a full mock interview so that you're ready for the real thing on the day of. They'll help you research your potential career path and sort of see what exactly it is that you want to do within the field you've been studying and where you want to do that and how you want to do that. If you're looking to go off to grad school, they'll help you with those applications because those can be a little bit tricky. For my students, if I have any here that are coming in as undeclared your freshman year, that is absolutely fine. And this is going to be the place that you want to be. They'll give you a skills assessment quiz or maybe a couple of quizzes that'll kind of show where your skills lie, where your interests lie, and what might be some really good fits for you as far as fields of study and careers. They can help you with applied learning grants. So maybe you have an internship that's going to cost you in some way, whether it be lodging or travel or whatever it is. You can fill out an applied learning grant with their help, and that'll help ease the cost of any of those fees or things that are associated with an internship or whatever program that you're involved in if you are accepted into that grant. They've also started an internship shuttle right here on campus. So if you have a local internship, but you maybe don't have a way to get there, you don't have a car on campus, you can apply to be part of that program. And if you're accepted, they'll take you to and from your internships on the shuttle. And they're also in charge of Cardinal Connect, which is a way for you to find potential employment after you're leaving SUNY Plattsburgh. It's a great way to connect with our alums as well. And that brings us all the way to graduation, which is where we want to be. We've had a very quick turnaround from being accepted about half an hour ago to now at graduation. So congratulations, guys. That's awesome. We really all do want to see you succeed. Every single office on campus just wants to get you to this point of graduation. And there, like I said, are all sorts of resources available to you. And it really is up to you to seek them out and let people know that you need additional help. And we're all there for you. So at this point, do I have any additional questions from anyone? Anything sparked on the second half of the presentation? We'll give those a second to come in. I know I sprung that on you. Okay, I have one of you worried a little bit about what your schedule will look like. Okay, so there is definitely going to be a difference going from a high school schedule where you're used to just being in classes from 7 to 3 or whatever it is every single day, Monday to Friday, to going to a college schedule. So classes are still in sessions from Monday to Friday, but when you get together with your academic advisor and select what classes that it is that you would like to take, that'll sort of take shape and your schedule will sort of take shape at that point. So classes are only offered, at 1 or 2 time slots throughout the week during any given semester. So sometimes you have a little bit of wiggle room if the class is offered more than once during the week to select, when you want to take it. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes it's just the time slot it is, and that's when you need to be there. But you're going to notice as a college student that you have breaks between your classes. Maybe you only have 1 or 2 classes a day one day, and then your next day is full. You're really not going to have a full picture of what your schedule is going to look like, though, until you meet with your academic advisor and select your classes and kind of see when they're being offered. Any other questions? All right, to a similar question, we have someone worried about the academic workload. So a lot of our students say that it's, a different workload, but it's not always as strenuous as you would think it's going to be if you take the proper steps to make sure that it's not that way. So unlike, again, high school, when you're used to getting out of class at 3 and then maybe you have homework, maybe you don't, this is going to be that you have a bunch of different professors and a bunch of different classes, and they may or may not have assigned you homework for that week. You might want to check the syllabus and see if you have any presentations or projects or things coming up that you should be picking at, even if you don't have homework that particular day. And then using your time to the best way that you can. So when we talk about having breaks between classes, a lot of our currently enrolled students that we have usually on a panel during our live presentations will suggest that you use those larger breaks between class to get some homework done so that you're not staying up all night later on trying to get the homework done for the next day. The main thing is to know that the workload is absolutely manageable, but you do have to kind of keep yourself organized and hold yourself accountable. No one in college is going to hold your hand and make sure you're doing what you're supposed to do. You kind of have to take over that role for yourself. Any other questions before we move on? All right, so let's keep going. All right, so let's talk a little bit about requirements and scholarships. So all of the numbers that you see here on the screen represent our middle 50%. So this is kind of like the average of those who are accepted to SUNY Plattsburgh, kind of that middle ground. So we are generally looking for that solid B student, so someone in the 85 to 92 GPA range. For SAT, we do require that you either submit your SAT or ACT. We're looking on SAT for the 1060 to 1180 range and ACT from the 21 to 25 range. Now, if you've taken both of these exams or you've taken the exams more than once, send us everything because we will super score for you and take the best possible option. If I have any transfer students listening in, as far as your GPA from your previous school, we're going to be looking for a 2.6 to a 3.3 GPA from you. And there are a lot of opportunities to earn some scholarships as well. These are nothing that you need to apply for, and they are all merit-based coming from us in admission. So if you qualify for any scholarships, they will be automatically awarded to you. One other thing I will mention as well, we do have certain programs that have slightly different admissions requirements. Nursing is one of those, education is another. So if you have any questions on whether your program would require those specific admissions requirements, get in touch with myself or anyone else in our office and we'd be glad to go over that with you. All right, so some deadlines for you. These are all on the website, so don't feel like you have to memorize these right now, but we'll run through them quickly. Now, it looks like most of you will be attending school in the fall. So for the fall deadline for submitting your application, we do recommend that you get those applications in as a freshman by December 1st and as a transfer by March 1st. We are rolling admissions here, so you're not going to be dealing with early decision because we are rolling admissions, but we do recommend that those are the dates you get those applications in by for full consideration. When we're looking to file a FAFSA for the fall, we're recommending you get that in by December 15th. And then once you have received your acceptance letter, you will have until May 1st to decide that you are going to come to SUNY Plattsburgh and to put that deposit down. All right, so shameless plug for some of our social media here. I would recommend that if you are interested in SUNY Plattsburgh, you join these accounts so that you can kind of stay up to date with what we have going on. We do have Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Snapchat, and Tumblr. If you get yourself onto campus and you take any pictures while you're here, if you have a public account, you use the hashtag Plattslight, we'll send you some free stuff in the mail. Free stuff is the best stuff. So if you're on campus, definitely take advantage of that. And at the end of the day, the future is yours, and we can't wait to see what you do with it. Thank you so much to everyone for tuning in today. If you have any questions that you didn't get a chance to ask, or maybe that come to mind a little later on, give us a call. The best number to reach us at admissions is always 518-564-2040. It was absolutely great to have you all here today, and I look forward to hopefully meeting most of you soon. Have a great day.